Hello Voltheads, you are watching the self-proclaimed, sarcastically named Captain KeyForge, also known as PJ Broughton of the Steel City Snufflegators. Okay, so I'm playing my second game of KeyForge Adventures. I'm going to try and video record this one. I did try to video record the last one, but I had an issue with it. So this is my second game. I'm going to try and get videos on stream of me playing. And I'm also going to try and use a selection of different decks and probably work back from the start to the front. And as such then, I decided that I would give a deck from Kota a go. I didn't want my best Call of the Archons deck, but I wanted something possibly a little bit more iconic and a little bit more of interest to the viewers, as it were. So what we've gone for is we've gone for my Horsemen deck. Wasn't very expensive, was less than £15 from eBay, brand new, and that's what I'm going to be using today. I have got the rules on standby. I will try to play as clean as I can, but there is a chance of mistakes. So I'm going to draw my 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, return. Right, okay. Right, okay, so I'm not particularly happy with that. I don't think that's great. So I'll put a couple there, a couple at the bottom. Okay. Right then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's not that bad. So that's going to be my hand, deck, discard, etc. Right, okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to play down the 2 disc creatures and then pass the turn. Keyraken starts with the low tide. So Keyraken is going to play this card here, which is a 9-power creature, crushing arm, prey, destroyed, deal 3 damage to the Keyraken through armor. And then we've got race to the surface. Okay, for each time the Keyraken has advanced, it archives 1 adventure card and draw. It archives 1 adventure card. Draw that many cards from your own deck. Right, well, I'm not drawing any because it's not archiving any cards. And there we go. We'll use those to measure how far the Keyraken has advanced. Okay, then, right then. So I didn't draw up to 6, so 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the Keyraken has 6 armor. So I could either do 2 damage to the Keyraken, right, okay. I'm actually going to rate with Charette, and I'm going to rate with Snudge, and I'm going to play Tentacus, and I'm going to keep a Rising Gateway to Dis in the hope of getting more creatures with the Gateway to Dis, and then arising, and I'm going to then spend 2 amber to raise the tide for the Keyraken. And then I'm going to pass my turn, and I forgot to reap with Keyraken on his last turn because he always reaps, so I forgot to do that. And then I'm going to draw back up to 6. Okay, so the Keyraken, first of all, he plays his 2 adventure cards. He has a shield arm, which gains taunt and destroyed to deal 3 damage to the Keyraken through armor. He doesn't advance because he's only got 2 amber and the tide is high. He then draws another card, which is Into the Abyss. Play, discard your hand and draw 4 cards. If the tide is high, you may lower the tide instead. So he gains a point of amber for that, and if the tide is high, I can lower the tide instead. Right, I'm going to lower the tide instead of discarding my cards. Right, so then the Keyraken will reap. This one came down exhausted, and he will attack the least powerful flank creature, which is going to be Charette. So Charette's going to be destroyed, and he's going to be exhausted with 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. Okay, right then. In fact, he can't fight because he would have returned him to his hand with the reef ability. So it is a missed opportunity, but he would have come down out of the archive because Snudge would have returned him to his hand. So that's going to be the end of his turn. Okay. So he's on 4. Right then. So I can do 7 damage to Keyraken because Tentacus would do 5 to armor, and then Snudge and Charette would do 1 to armor, and then 7 to Keyraken. So I'm gonna try and hurt Keyraken here. So I am going to fight all my 3 creatures into Keyraken, which is a grand total of 9, 13 damage minus the 6 armor. So 5 damage, 13 minus 67, so he takes 7 damage. They all go to discard. However, then I'm going to play Gateway to destroy both of these 2 creatures. That is going to deal another 6 to the Keyraken because of Gateway to this. So the Keyraken is now on 13 damage. Yeah, 13 damage and 4 amber. So yes, we'll put the 5s at the bottom, the 1s at the top, 4 amber. Okay, I have to gain 3 chains, 2, 3, 3. I am then going to arise my 3 disc creatures and put them all down. Charette's going to capture 3 straight away, and then I'm going to play Pandemonium. I do need to add a chain for Arise. I'm going to play Pandemonium to gain another amber, and each undamaged creature captures 1 from its opponent, so I'll put 1 there. And that is going to be the end of my turn. I shed 1 chain and go down to 3, and I will draw 2 cards. I'm drawing them face up because it really doesn't matter if you see them. You know, 1 player game doesn't matter if you can see all my cards. So at the moment we've got Lost in the Woods, Niffle Queen, Witch of the Eye, Screaming Cave, and Champion Anaphiel. 5 card hand, 3 chains, no artifacts, and then I'm going to pass the turn to the Keyraken. So the Keyraken has got no archive just yet. And he has got 13 damage. So he's going to play his first card, which is Ascending Jet. It's an artifact. Give the Keyraken's creature with the lowest power 3+1 power counters, and if that creature has 9 power or more, destroy Ascending Jet. So that's going to come in exhausted. We've got no creatures anyway at the moment. And then Tentacus Arm reap, the Keyraken steals 1 from you, destroy, deal 3 to the Keyraken, so they come down. The Keyraken will then reap, because I haven't got any prey abilities or anything like that at the moment. So that is going to be the end of the Keyraken's turn. Okay, so that's the discard pile. Right, what do I want to do? Oh, well, I'm going to spend the 2 for starters to raise the tide, just because I believe it's a good thing to be doing. Right then, so again, we can do 7 points of damage to the Keyraken by hitting all my creatures. Or, right, just in case we get any amber effects, I'm going to reap for 2 with Snudge and Charette, and then Tentacus is going to destroy this guy and take 3 damage, but that in turn is then going to do 3 more damage to this guy, and he's got 13 at the moment, so 14, 15, 16, so flip one of these to a 5, there we go, and he's got 16 points of damage now, and the artifact goes into his archive because of Snudge's ability. Okay, so then the Keyraken's turn. First of all, he draws his archive, he plays it, then he plays the top card. Preternatural Will. If the tide is low, heal 6 damage from the Keyraken. If the tide is high, you gain 3 chains. 3, so that takes me to 6 chains. So I didn't actually draw there. I should have played the Screaming Cave down, but I didn't. But that's my own fault. There we go. Okay, he doesn't gain an amber pip for that, and then he plays his second card, which is Primordial. The Keyraken games reap, archive 1 adventure card. After a player forges a key, destroy Primordial. Obviously he didn't advance because he only had 1 amber. Okay, so now Keyraken reaps, and he archives the top card of his deck, readies his artifact, and that is the end of the Keyraken's turn. So he is on 16 damage. Yet again, I can do 7 points of damage to him. So this, play the Screaming Cave. 4, 5, so 9, 13. He has 6 armor, that will do 7. Give him all that back. Destroy my 3 creatures. He takes 7 damage, so there's a 5, 6, 7. So at the moment he's now on 23 damage of his 30. And then I am gonna go down to 5 chains and draw 1 card. Okay, right then. So now it is the Keyraken's turn once more. So he's going to play the top card of his archive, which is Defend the Keyraken. Ward the Keyraken and each of its creatures. Well, it's got no creatures, but he takes an amber, and I'm forgetting he will advance for 6, and that will, if after Keyraken advances, lower the tide. So he advances for 6. So he's advanced once, and then he plays Emergence, destroy 1 of your artifacts and exhaust 3 of your creatures. There we go. He gains 1 off that, and then he plays his second card, Ascending Jet. Right, that's another one of those, but he's got no creatures, so they don't work this turn. And then the Keyraken reaps and archives the top card of his deck. So I'm going to play Untamed just to get cards out of my hand, and I'm going to spend the 2 to raise the tide. I'm going to play Lost in the Woods to gain an amber, put these 2 creatures down, Witch of the Eye and Niffle Queen, and then play Nocturnal Maneuver as well to gain another point of amber, and then that's going to be me, shed a chain down to 4 chains and draw 4 cards up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Okay, so Keyraken plays his archive card, which is Titanic Maw. The Keyraken gains skirmish, prey the most powerful creature, and fight, deal 3 damage to each neighbour of the creature the Keyraken fights. Wow. At the end of Keyraken's turn, if you control no creatures, destroy that. Good, because that's literally going to wipe my entire board. So no creatures to use. Actually, Prenatural Will, if the tide is low, heal 6 damage from Keyraken. If the tide is high, gain 3 chains. So gain 3 chains again, so that's going to take me to 5, 6, 7. And then he plays 1 more card. Drag to your doom. Purge your most powerful creature. If the tide is high, you may lower the tide instead. No, you're alright, I'll purge that creature because it was going to get killed anyway, thanks to that. So, because of this upgrade, he doesn't reap, he fights. That kills Witch of the Eye. He then has I have no more creatures, so that upgrade gets destroyed. He's got no creatures to use his artifacts on. And with that, he will pass the turn back to me. Right then. So I'm going to go for Untamed. I'm going to play Lupo's Guard. I'm going to play Regrowth to regrowth Witch of the Eye, gain an amber, and then shed a chain down to 6 chains, and then draw up to 5. Okay, ready those creatures. So the Keyraken has no archive, so he's just going to play the 2 cards now. He doesn't advance because the tide is high. Tide down, gain an amber pip. If you put 1 of your creatures on the bottom of your deck. If the tide is high, the Keyraken archives 1 card. So I'll put that on the bottom of my deck, and because the tide is high, he archives 1 card. He draws another one. Whirlpool Eddy, artifact. Comes down exhausted. They don't work. He reaps, gains 1, archives the top card of his deck. I could really do without all this creature control when he's got no creatures on the board, because he'd probably be dead already if he didn't keep managing to kill 2 and 3 creatures a turn. If I could just have maybe a couple of creatures down. Right then, okay, so right then. I'm gonna play this. And I'm gonna play Shula, steal 1. Hysteria, return all cards to hand. Shula, steal another 1. Shed a chain, draw a card up to 5. Okay, so he plays his archive. Zealot's Revelation. Play. Shuffle the adventure discard pile into the adventure deck, and the Keyraken archives 3 adventure cards. If the tide is high, you may lower the tide instead. No, you're alright, so that's fine. And he archives 3 cards once this has happened. And then he draws 1 more. Okay, so archive 1, 2, 3, and then he draws a card which is a shield arm, and it is taunt, destroy, deal 3 damage to the Keyraken, and then give the Keyraken's creature with the lowest power +1 is 3 +1 power counters. If that creature has 9 or more, destroy that. So that's going to get used and destroyed, as are the other 2. So it is going to go 1, 2, 3. It's going to get 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And he's going to reap and archive a card as well. And they both. Oh no, that's not an ascending jet. That goes right. Stun and exhaust one of your creatures. If that is not already right. Action: stun and exhaust one of your creatures. If that is not already stunned, all of your creatures are stunned. Right, so stun and exhaust Shula. So we need to stun Shula. Right. Okay. And that's the end of his turn. Right then. Okay. Right, Horsemen of Famine. Destroy a creature. Taunt. Play. Right, there we go. Ready all my cards. Shed a chain. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now then. Now he gets all these ridiculous 4 archive. So, defend the Keyraken, ward the Keyraken of each of its creatures. Gain an amber. Crimson Churning. Deal 1 to each of your creatures if the tide is high. The Keyraken archives a card. Nothing, because of armor. And 2 horsemen, 1 and 1. And then Crushing Arm, Prey, and Left in its Wake. Exhaust your most powerful creature and each creature you control that shares a house with it. If the tide is high, Keyraken archives a card. Wow, brilliant. Okay. And yet again, he flukes, wrecking my entire board. Because he'd have been dead there. That would have been him dead. Okay, so then Keyraken reaps and archives a card. That hasn't got the prey keyword, so it reaps. That's exhausted. Stun and exhaust one of your creatures that is not already stunned. Well, they're all exhausted. So we'll stun him. Right, okay. And then my turn. I don't forge because I don't have enough. Okay. Right. Time to start getting down some creatures from other houses. Ready all my creatures. Shed a chain. Draw up to 5. Forgotten what a hand of 6 looks like. There we go. Right, okay. So deal with the ridiculous archive again. Race to the surface. For each time the Keyrakens have advanced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it advances again and loses 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It gets 1 for that card. And then it archives a card for each time it's advanced. So it archives 1, 2. I'll say this, the longer the game goes on, the stronger the Keyraken gets with all these upgrades and archiving everything and stuff like that. So Swift Current is an artifact, it gains 2 amber. There we go, and it comes down exhausted. Devour Whole. For the remainder of the turn, the Keyraken gains Skirmish Prey, the least powerful creature it fights, and then readies. So it's going to kill 2 creatures anyway. So Keyraken destroys those 2. It loses the ward fighting Witch of the Eye. And then it takes 4 damage. So it takes no damage off either of those 2. Destroys them. Shield Arm Reaps. Crushing Arm. Destroy the least powerful flank creature. I'll have that one then. Your exhaust, that's you used. And then stun and exhaust one of your creatures that is not, or right, in that case then I'm going to go, yeah, stun and exhaust a creature. So we'll stun and exhaust you. And the Keyraken's creature with the highest power captures 1 from you. That's fine. Okay. Right, back to me. So Sanctum. That goes to low. I pay 2 to raise the tide. Right, okay. So we've got 2 power 9 creatures. Also as well, that took 5 damage off the creature it attacked. Oh, stop being silly now. That's still warded, and it's still got 1 amber on it, and it's still got a boatload of power tokens. Not that it matters. Okay. Right. So I'm going to put Famine and Anafeel into the Keyraken, and the Keyraken can have another 5 damage. Which, with him being on 5, 10, 15, 20, 23, we'll take away. So 3 plus 5 is 8. So we'll turn one of those 5s into 1. And then we'll put 3 back. So now he has got 2 power left. They both go to discard. And then I'm going to play those 2 down. He gets another damage. He gets nothing because of the armor, but he loses his ward. And then I pass the turn. Okay, so does the Keyraken advance? No, because one of those belongs to his creature. So he doesn't advance because he's only got 5. He plays his 2 things. So emergence. Wow. Destroy one of your artifacts and exhaust 3 of your creatures. And then behold its grandeur. The Keyraken gains 1 amber for each creature that you control that shares a house with one or more of its neighbours, maximum 4. So the Keyraken gains 3 off that card. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the Keyraken reaps and archives a card. Shield Arm reaps, but then Crushing Arm preys on the least powerful creature, which is the Grey Monk. He's already on 6 damage. He then gets destroyed, which gives the Keyraken another 3 points of damage, which, bearing in mind, he is already on 28. It's calamari time and the Keyraken's destroyed by his own creature fighting into one of mine. And yeah, so that's the Keyraken destroyed. This deck did get it last time as well. I think it's because it's quite creature heavy and it's got lots of strong creatures as well, sort of power 4s, power 5s and stuff like that. I mean, the whole Keyraken having 6 armor every turn, you know, if you've only got small creatures, then you're not going to do much damage swinging your small creatures into the Keyraken. But if you've got beefy ones with lots of power, you can, you know, right, I'll just put 3 creatures into the Keyraken and I'll do 7 points of damage. And it's totally worth it. Also as well, I've got to say, I like how quickly the game sort of flows. I don't think that was a particularly long game to play. I think it's gone pretty quickly. So yeah, I'm a fan of it. I mean, he definitely would have advanced there on his next turn, and that would have been him advanced 3 times. Yeah, I think it's a great way to be able to play a game by yourself. I think I'll have decks that will get battered by the Keyraken. I think I've probably got decks as well that would really, really punish him because of control. You know, I mean, imagine like multiple copies of Gateway to this, and every time one of his creatures gets destroyed, it deals 3 damage to him, ignoring his 6 points of armor. So yeah, let me know what you thought, if there's anything particularly you'd like to see from AOA, yeah, hopefully I should be putting some more of these videos on again. Thanks for watching, so feel free to like and subscribe. I love comments and criticism, so please feel free to leave those. I'll hope to see you next time, but until then, may the Forge be with you.